Right now, somewhere out there, a woman is walking into a kitchen that's quieter than it's ever been. She's waking up in a bed that suddenly feels twice as big, and she's telling herself the most frightening story she knows, that at over 50, going through a divorce, she is starting from nothing. After 40 years as a psychotherapist, I've sat with hundreds of women in that exact place, and I want to tell you something about that story. It's not the whole truth. You are not starting from scratch, and by the time we're done today, you're going to understand exactly why. But first, I want to name what's actually happening, because whether you wanted this divorce or not, one thing is true for almost every woman sitting where you are right now. The entire structure of your everyday life has totally changed. The usual routines no longer exist. And whether you stayed in your house or moved elsewhere, where you live now is different because it's just you in it. And friendships can be very different now as well. Friends don't always know what to say. And sometimes the friendships themselves change. Holidays are now something that have to be negotiated, and your children, even the grown ones, they grieve too, sometimes silently, sometimes loudly, and the future that once had both of your names written on it is gone. And I haven't even gotten to the part that catches most women by surprise, because underneath every single thing I just named, two questions show up, and they're the ones we seldom get prepared for. The first one is, who am I now? Not as someone's wife, not as part of a couple, not as someone who kept everything together. Now that I'm just with me, who is that? And maybe even more frightening is the second question. What is my life going to look like now? Now, do either of these two questions ring a bell with you? I'd love to know if they do, so please feel free to comment. Because both of those questions deserve to be honored. Not just answered with a pat on the back with a, "Don't worry, girl, you got this." Because when your whole life has been rearranged, those questions deserve more than reassurance. They deserve to be looked at. So here is the truth you need to know, one that can be very hard to see when your life has been turned upside down. And I'll say this again. You are not starting from scratch. You are not completely starting over. And I'm not saying that to make you feel better, because even without meeting you, here is what I already know about you. Everything you've learned about yourself, about surviving hard times, about what you need and what you want, about what you will and won't tolerate anymore, and perhaps most importantly, what love really means to you now and what it doesn't. All of that knowledge, wisdom, and strength still lives inside you. None of that left with a divorce after 50. So it's yours. You've earned it. But I want to stop here for just a moment, because I know what some of you may be thinking right now. You're hearing me say, you have all this wisdom, and part of you wants to believe that. But another part of you is looking at your life and thinking, I don't feel wise. Sometimes I feel like I've lost more than I've gained. And I want to say something to that. I understand why you would feel that way, because what you've lost is visible. You can see it. It's right there in plain sight. But what you've gained is still invisible to you. Maybe you can't quite see it yet because losses are always loud and wisdom is always quiet. But I promise you, it's there. So now that I've told you who I think you are, my question to you is, do you know that about yourself? Can you see how you've gained all this wisdom from your experience? Because sometimes the hardest person to see clearly is usually ourselves, especially during difficult times. I don't know why, but when things get rough, we tend to be harder on ourselves rather than giving ourselves the compassion and understanding we need. So if you're not quite sure you're all those good things I just said about you, and you want to answer that first question of, who am I now? Try this. If I were to ask you to complete this sentence, and you can only say positive things about yourself, how would you finish it? I am a person who. Just sit with that for a moment. And don't stop at one answer. See how many you can come up with. It would be a wonderful exercise for you to do after you finish watching this video. I am a person who. And you'd be amazed how many people struggle with this. But if you really allow yourself to consider it, you'll begin to see all the qualities you already possess to get through this next chapter of your life. And seeing those qualities in yourself isn't just a feel-good exercise. They're the very strengths you're going to lean on as you navigate this next chapter. So please feel free to share your comments to that question in the comments, not just for us to know each other better, but also because there may be another woman who really needs to read what you have to say. So once you've sat with finishing that sentence and begun to see who you actually are, I invite you to answer the second question. What is my life going to look like now? Well, what do you want it to look like? What kind of life would you love to create from here? Because you are the creator of your life. You always have been. But now it's different because now you have the time and the space to actually think about it. Maybe for the first time in a very long time. Maybe even ever. Because you and I both know that what you wanted at 25, 35, or even 45 is probably not what you want now. You're not the same woman you were years ago. You know things now. Hard things. True things. You know what matters to you. So what you want your life to look like now is something only you can answer. But I can tell you this. The woman who is going to build this next chapter of her life is already here with me now watching this video. Divorce after 50 is not the end of your story. It may be an ending, but you are not starting over from scratch. You now have the opportunity to actually write a new chapter for yourself. A chapter about a woman who has earned her wisdom, knows herself better than she ever has, and already possesses everything she needs to begin a new life. And of course, we both know there's no one worth knowing more than you. So if you want to keep going with gaining even more knowledge, wisdom, and strength, my next video, You're Exactly Where You Need to Be, is about what to do when you're feeling stuck and thinking you should be further ahead. But I'll share with you why you're not behind it all. So please remember to subscribe, and I so appreciate you watching. See you in the next video.